Hello, good evening, and welcome to the FB4 podcast. It's Sunday night, and it's been a saucy weekend of sport and action that we will be touching on accordingly. Tonight, I'm your host, Keith, and I'm joined by Gav. Gav, how are you?
Great form. Benega lashing around the place.
Ever, what a man.
Jesus Navas is still playing football, which is amazing.
You love to see it.
Just banging stuff in, and Pep, which I can't fucking wait to get to.
We'll touch on that in a while. Seany Lawson has a dapper looking top on him there. It's been a nice weekend, Seany, hasn't it?
Certainly has. Just goes to show. We are the best of the bunch. The bunch is shy.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, this European Cup, being champions of everything at the same time business. So, let's just enjoy it for our last week as European champions for this year.
Yeah. Exactly, and whoever wins it now couldn't give two shites. They can have, whoever is in it can have it once it's won on the right terms. We're all happy with that. Grizz, how are you, my man?
I'm good, pal. Amazing weekend. Sensational weekend.
How did Pakistan get on in the cricket?
Yeah, talk about the football.
How did Pakistan get on?
We skipped the
Wasn't perfect, wasn't it?
Nah, it's been raining. It's been torrential.
A soggy crease. Nothing worse than a soggy crease.
Nothing worse than a soggy crease.
Yeah, you join in as well. Go on.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Cricket, man. You know what I mean? We're cricket, man.
Yeah. No, it's been raining up in Manchester. It's not been a good week. It's not been. Actually, the match wasn't even Manchester, but it's on my mind.
Salty
Manchester's
tears.
on my mind. Yeah, but amazing weekend. Even without doing anything, just sitting back watching these teams try to make history in Europe, try to make a name for themselves in Europe. It's just not happening, is it, for these teams, man?
No, it's not as easy as it looks, is it?
No, it's not easy as it looks at all.
Some teams make it look easy, but it's not really. We've a packed show tonight to talk about, lads. There's Liverpool are back in the pre-season. There's been a few awards given out. And we're going to look at the European competitions up till now, the new format and how that's panned out. And we'll talk about a couple of players here and there as well as we go on. So I want to start with some of the awards that have been happening. So across the Liverpool spectrum, we've had Jurgen winning the Manager of the Year, which there surely is no surprise there. Is there, lads? Gav?
No, not at all. Talk of Chris Wilder and talk of Frank Lampard, for fuck's sake. Maybe one or two more thrown in there. I'm not too sure, but no. He's managed Liverpool to 32 wins and 3 draws out of 38, and the last 7 of them didn't count. You know, where we picked up two defeats of the 3 from the season. An astonishing season, and there's no argument about it. I think he won 5 managers a month as well throughout the season as well. So it was nailed on. People talking about. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Wilder's done a great job at Sheffield United. Lampard's been overblown completely. I don't know who the other person was in the run. It was Lampard and Wilder.
Brendan, was it?
Rodgers was in there as a four-man, for fuck's sake.
Why did you mention him? He's going to go off now.
They must have done the voting in early December. But
Seinfeld's going to go off now.
But listen, well deserved Jurgen Klopp. Far and away the manager of the season. It's one of the most nailed on awards you're ever likely to see, to be honest.
Would you agree with that, Seany?
Yeah, let's be honest. It's probably the most impressive individual season by a squad in English history. The run we went on. People are going to go on about the Invincibles and all, but he's been unbelievable, Klopp, and I think they probably should have done a Manager of the Year award excluding Klopp because it was so much for formality. They probably should have given it to someone else to say, look, Klopp, I'm not going to waste the time giving you this award. He'll give it to somebody else because
the asterisk Manager of the Year.
Yeah, that's exactly what they should have done, something along them lines. Just names in a hat, really, for the rest of them, wasn't it? That's why I wouldn't pay attention to who else was mentioned, because Klopp is just by far and above the greatest manager active in the world at the moment. More heads and shoulders above the rest, completely. And I don't think anyone will have any dispute about that.
Grizz, would you agree with Seany there with Klopp's stature as the best in the world? Is there any manager that can come close? Is there anyone that you can think of?
No. No, absolutely not. It's it was the standout performance club-wise in the whole of Europe. Everyone else, stumbled across the line or whatever, or won it by, X amount of points. We smashed it. We had it won before COVID. As Shorty says, there was no competition. It was only those names were only brought up for talking points and hype and trying to make it look like it was a competition for Manager of the Year when there's no competition really, to be honest with you. But yeah, so fair play to him. Great man.
It's great to see. It's great to see. Like, it's a great point that Shawnee makes there. There's no other manager. He's the envy of everybody. There's no one that comes close to him, and we're very lucky to have him. And we're doing what we're doing with a small squad with very little squad additions, sensible and smart squad additions, but we're not spending the millions and some cases billions that other clubs are spending and need to spend to get there. So what he's doing, you can look at Klopp as a motivator, as a man manager, as an inspirational manager, but he does it all on the training ground as well. It's not a checkbook manager. He's not just a hug merchant, as some people would say. He's the total package, and it's just a perfect fit for us. We've got nearly 300 people watching us there. Thanks very much for tuning in. Only 88 of you have liked so far, so smash that like button if you get a chance, and we'll get the show on the road. Another award that came.
Don't be so soft on them. If you get a chance, smash the like button. Just smash it.
I'm giving them chance, Grizz.
Nice.
Very aggressive.
I was going to leave the aggression maybe till we had like 800 watching. You know what I mean? Like, it's the first 200, 300 in the door.
Smash the like button like you have a Manchester team in a knockout tie in Europe.
That's it. Stop. Another award, we're going to get on to them soon enough, don't worry about that. Another award that came our way was Henderson won the Liverpool Player of the Year. Again, it's probably expected, the situation, the season that we've had. I'll come to Grizz first on this one. What did you make of Hendo winning that? I know a lot of people are shouting for other players, but realistically, I think it was probably always going to be Hendo, was it?
I would have liked to see Mane win it. I wouldn't have grumbled. Hendo won it. I'm absolutely happy with that as well. But yeah, from a personal point of view, if you ask me, it would have been nice to give Mane some recognition. I know Mo gets most of the headlines. In an attacking sense, Hendo gets it sort of for the man that he is and for his performances on the pitch as well. But the overall package, the man, the leader, the motivator, the captain. But just a personal. I think he's won the other one, didn't he? The PFA, the writer, sorry.
Yeah,
player of the season, didn't he? Yeah. So I would have just. It would have been nice if Mane won this one. That's just my personal opinion if I was voting.
Shawnee, what about yourself?
No, I think Henderson is fully deserving of the award. I think in a team full of superstars, he was the rock, he was the glue. He played 38 games in the league season, and for 32 of those games, Jordan Henderson was 7 out of 10 or above every single week, never dropped. He was unbelievable, and only then when he was out of the team did we miss him. And he didn't have to do what the likes of Trent and Mane have to do all season, do the same job. Fabinho went out around Christmas and Henderson dropped into the 6, and arguably Fabinho was the best holding midfielder in the world at that stage when he got injured. You look at his performances around that time when we were saying, shit, that's a big loss. But we never felt it because Hendo dropped into that role and was just superb, arguably better. He was incredible. Like someone said there, he was the real driving force of the campaign. That's an Arsenal fan saying that. And look, like I would have given it to Henderson personally. And I would have been someone who was critical of Henderson in past seasons, but he's been absolutely amazing this year. I'm fully deserving of any award that he wins.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Gav, what's your take on Hendo getting the award?
Yeah, it's Henderson for me. But like when you look back years ago, when it was very easy to pick out your player of the year. I think it was difficult. What I think Mane definitely deserves a mention. Salah's numbers are insane.
Van Dijk as well.
Yeah, Van Dijk. You know,
Alisson.
You could argue Alisson, Trent, Roberts. You just keep going. But I think the biggest thing for me, and I think Kev O'Sullivan might have said it in the chat, he starts off in the 8, you know, or the position they like to call the 8, and he's brilliant. And then Fabinho gets injured and he goes into the 6 and he's brilliant. And then he goes back into the 8 and he's brilliant. People might try nitpick and go, well, what about this game or what about that game? Even when Jordan Henderson wasn't playing well, he gave everything. He pushed every millimetre he could out of the game. He pushed his own players to the absolute limit. And that's what your captain's meant to do. If you're not having a great game, fine, but you make sure that you do the basics and you make sure you encourage other players around you to say, I'm not having a great day, but encourage these lads and we might get something out of it. And we've seen Liverpool come out with tight games, you know, but I think he deserves it. I think the positional movement that he had during the season and to perform at that level, especially when he went back to the 6, Keith, because he was getting pigeonholed in there and people were able to pick at him. And when he moves away from it, and then he comes back and he comes back an even better number 6 after being playing in a different position, I think it's a testament to him. And I would have had Manny in around there, but I think Henderson deserves it. Shawnee's laughing at something. I've obviously missed something.
Barry Devaney said, is that a DHK top, Shawnee? The fucking tag is still on you can of piss. Don't be annoying me. But Sappy, it's going back to the shop. You're not getting full refunds on New Balance gear anymore because it has to go into a dumpster fire for CBR reasons.
No, I think Joe Walsh bought it all up.
Joe will hoover that up, yeah, don't worry.
Big job, lad.
You get a good deal. But no, Henderson has been amazing. And myself and Andy actually had an argument with someone on Twitter a while ago who tried to claim it was Wijnaldum that went back to the 6 when Fabinho dropped out and Henderson just sort of done a job in other positions. And I don't know what games he was watching. It was clear that Henderson went back and anchored the midfield and dictated the play from there. He's been amazing. You know, he's symbolic. We've said this before. He's symbolic of Liverpool at the moment. We've all these excellent players, but it's not about individuals. It's about the team, and he is the fulcrum of the team. And for Henderson to get that award is just deserved. Go ahead, Shawnee.
We are going to get on to City at one point, but you look at there last night, City and Leon. Manchester City needed Jordan Henderson.
Yeah. 100%. You wouldn't get into any of the teams apparently, but
but they needed Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. This is the character, the driving force. This is a leader, someone who stands up like a conduit, who steps up and allows everyone else to perform. When he played in the 6, he filled in for Fabinho. When he's playing on the right side of the 3 in midfield, he holds there. So Salah, not only Salah can cheat, Trent can get forward. He's so important to this team. It's unbelievable how important he is. And there's talk of Thiago coming in and people haven't even got them in that midfield next year. Look, I'm sorry to upset you. Jordan Henderson is going to be in the team most weeks next year. He's probably one of the first names on the T sheet. I'd say it goes Alisson, Virgil, Hendo. Yeah, that's it's as simple as that.
Look, both of you make great points. All right, I changed my mind. Right, I'll give it to Hendo as well, man.
Good man, Grizz. Good man.
Okay, well that obviously clears that up and allows the club to now go and give Henderson the award.
Yeah,
Grizz is okay.
Clean sweep. Clean sweep.
Yeah, was in the balance for a minute there.
Yeah, they were holding out, but you know he gets it, so it's another result for him. You know what I mean? It's sitting there sweating on tender hooks, whether he gets it or not. But good news all around, isn't it? What a Sunday, what a day.
But still, I mean, the main thing, the beauty of this award is that, as we said, any one of 5, 6 of them won it.
Yeah,
and we wouldn't argue, and we wouldn't grumble, and we wouldn't debate too much. It'd be like, go on, give it to him. Do you know what I mean?
You could sit here an hour and
make a case for
an hour on probably 5 players on why they should be player of the year. So it's just a testament to how good the side was this year.
Exactly. I want to move on to another player of the year given out today. The Premier League player of the year went to Kevin De Bruyne. I would say fair enough, you know. He's had an unbelievable season. Not silverware wise, they got the Carabao Cup, like fair play, and the Charity Shield, but didn't get any of the big ones. But we've had seasons before where we haven't won anything and have had outstanding players. Salah, when City won the league with 100 points, got it. Is there any sort of question marks over De Bruyne getting player of the year from you boys, Gav?
Yeah. I think
I could sense you're going to be controversial on this one.
He's the main player, and I think he captains them quite a bit this season.
Yeah.
And when you look at the season they've had in the Premier League, it's just not good enough. And you know, he gets, I don't know, 20 assists or so. I don't know what it is, but at the end of the day, he's still. I'm not writing off the 20 assists. Don't get me wrong, but it's 20 assists in a season where you have 82 points or something. 81 points. It's not an outstanding season. We're in a team that's been outstanding. People will argue, well, Salah got it the year. Salah had 44 fucking goals. Yeah. He's 44 goals in a team that ended up in the top four. When people probably were thinking, will they, won't they? It was like that. But for me, Kevin De Bruyne is a fantastic footballer. I think he's one of the best midfielders I've ever seen in the Premier League. I'm going to be honest with you. But this season, Player of the Year, no. Because there's a lot more than assists and stuff that you should be judged on. And if he's judged on it, he is one of Man City's main players that overall, as part of a team, didn't show up. Simple as that. And I think Henderson should have got that one as well.
Seany, we touched on it a second ago with Henderson being the Player of the Year as being sort of symbolic of the team ethic at Liverpool. Do you think that's what's maybe Liverpool, not that they haven't had a standout individual, we've said there we could have had 5 or 6, has that sort of maybe hampered an outstanding choice from a Liverpool point of view and made De Bruyne the favourite?
Yeah, because if Virgil van Dijk didn't win it this year, you would have won it last year, he would have won it this year.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Virgil van Dijk is suffering from the same thing Salah did after his 4th season.
Yeah.
Whereas that's the bar he set for himself. But I will have absolutely no argument made against Kevin De Bruyne being Premier League Player of the Year, because it's the award for the best individual player in the year, in the season. And for me, De Bruyne is the best player in the Premier League alongside Van Dijk. They're the 2 best players in the Premier League. He was incredible this year. 20 assists he had. He equaled Henry's record. There was games where he pulled them out of fire on his own. Technically unbelievable. The best midfielder in the world. And if there was a Ballon d'Or shout, he probably would have been in top 4 or 5 for that this year, I reckon, as well. Look, you just have to be honest. None of us like City here. I don't like City, but I love Kevin De Bruyne. I even love the way he carries himself off the pitch. I think he's an excellent role model. I like the way he speaks. He's not like the rest of the City squad, I don't think. He's not like a Bernardo or a Sterling. He's not like that. You seen him after the game last night. You just call that as it was. He's incredible. He's the closest thing I've seen to Steven Gerrard.
Controversial, but I see where you're coming from. Grizz.
It's not controversial. I'll tell you why. Because yesterday I had a tweet drafted in my right, and I had a draft.
Make you up for this one. I had a drafted tweet. I like this.
I'm being serious here, right? And it was at the exact point. It was at the exact point where City were banging on the door and they were looking for an equalizer. And I was just going to tweet that in years gone by, this is where the original Don, Stevie G, would step up and sit and try to just get something out of this game and improve others around him. And I was just about to send it when he scored, so I didn't send it. As Shawnee says, the guy has been absolutely sensational. In a very average team this season, it's got to be said. They've got beat so many times. There's only so much Kevin De Bruyne can do. He's absolute beautiful to watch. I tweeted, I wouldn't grumble if he was given it. I said it about a couple of months ago, and lo and behold, he's got it. So we can't turn around and start grumbling now.
It's another thing that makes Pep like a fucking idiot as well, because he was whinging about these awards not going to Man City players. So there's absolutely nothing to go on about.
How many games did he play this season in the league?
Well, you're googling it there, so tell us.
I'm not googling. I'm not.
I don't know.
Did he play the 38?
No, he didn't play the 48.
No, probably not. But I mean, look. In terms of technique, he's 10 out of 10. In terms of mentality, he's 10 out of 10. he is one of the best midfielders in the world, probably the best actually if you think about it.
34 games he played.
Yeah.
34 games. He's one of those in terms of like Gini Wijnaldum when he hardly misses a game through injury, and he's just his durability is second to none. He's the brain of that team. So many different types of assists. Everyone sort of tries to label him as a cross merchant. Hey,
his durability isn't second to none. He's a poor injury record. So? Yeah.
Well, he had a bad 34. He had a
bad year last year. That was it.
Yeah, he's played 34 games this year. That's a lot of games.
I think he had a bad year the year before as well, injury-wise.
Don't think he did. I think the year he won the league. Best player in the team again.
Well, we're not, but he wasn't given player of the year then, was he?
Didn't he go down at Crystal Palace with a bad injury? Year?
No, he was back 3 weeks later.
Yeah, the horse placentas.
No, he's
durability is not an issue then. People if you have horse placenta.
Gav's checking 95 records. Why are you checking the records of the last 10 years? He won the award this year.
Kevin De Bruyne's best footballer in the league this year, deserving of the award. If you think otherwise, you're a bit.
People try to label his assists as just cross and eyes closed and just whip that ball in. No,
that's all.
That's the absolute.
Fucking
you don't know football. You don't know.
He's a joke. He has every pass in the book. He blocks off passing lanes. He's 6'1", flies around the pitch, has absolutely everything. If there was one player in the world we could have tomorrow, it would be Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah, that's true. And as Jonathan says in the comments there, a childhood red as well, so he's a good egg really, despite everything else and the others in that City squad, which we'll come on to later on. So that's enough with the awards. I'm sure there'll be more coming out. I don't know how that'll affect the Daytrippers. Does that have any impact on you, I think, Gav, your predictions?
Massive.
I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Everything's nearly over. Once it's all over, we can
start rattling stuff out.
No one predicted Hendo. I know that much. No one predicted Hendo as player of the season for Liverpool.
You don't know that much. You haven't seen them.
You don't even know who you picked, Grizz. So
no, he doesn't.
Well, that's the point.
Paddy could have picked Hendo, and therefore you picked Hendo.
Yeah, I copied Paddy's. I know I copied Paddy's.
You need to ring Paddy and ask him, has he got his choices there?
Paddy, has he got the point of fact that
knowing Paddy Lawson, there's every chance he chose Hendo. I'm with a chance. I'm telling you now. And I would love it. Man.
Come here. If Paddy wins this thing, you'll win it with him,
I'm telling
you'll have to share the award.
Hendo. It could be a chance he picked Hendo.
Absolute copy and paste job.
This is amazing.
Victory.
Anyway.
Gav, I think I just forwarded you Paddy's answers in the WhatsApp there. Give me a minute to make a few adjustments.
yeah.
Flying there, boy. This could be.
We'll keep us updated on this, folks, as the show goes on. Don't leave them sofas. Big updates will come. I want to move on to something else that's come out over the last few days as well, lads, and it's been the sort of fixture timetable that's come out for the season, around sort of the dates where games will be played, where they'll put cup games, international games, and all that, and it looks quite congested. Have you had a look at the sort of projected
I had a quick look at it, and I thought it was a wind-up.
Yeah.
Because the games look close enough together as it is, and then there's throw in another Wednesday there for a catch-up weekend. Obviously if teams are still in Europe or, FA Cup and stuff like that, there's they're calling them catch-up Wednesdays or something like that. It's going to be mad because if you're starting on September the 12th, you're losing a month. Let's be honest about it. I don't know what the league. I don't. Yeah, because we usually start on the 8th of August, isn't it? 8th or 15th.
The league would have been starting this weekend,
or last weekend. Usually, it all depends what way it falls. But of course, then you have to give international teams time, don't you? Because the Euro 2020 is going to be played next summer, so you can't be asking to finish late May and starting this in June. So they're going to try to get this finished early May, I would have thought, to give the international teams a chance. So it's going to get very congested. I don't know what they're going to do with regards to the way they usually try have a winter break and stagger teams around. I don't know whether they're going to bin that coming this season and just say, look, we're going to just have to go hell for leather this season. But it's going to be tight, and we always talk around Christmas, January, a lot of positions in the league and titles to be won, top 4, relegation, it can come down to suspensions and injuries, and I think they're going to be magnified if that fixture list or proposed fixture list is actually real.
Yeah, but you know what? This is the tasty part for Liverpool, because we'll be nice and refreshed. Can you imagine the state of Man United, Man City, Chelsea, and Arsenal squads
And
right after this
they didn't break the threshold to get the extra week's breaks now either.
Yeah.
And they were picking their strongest team every week, the same team, where we were rotating players, bringing in players, and even our own fans, the brain dead ones, were saying, "What's going on here? Why is he playing this one?" Well, now we'll realize. Now we'll feel the force and the effect, and understand the thinking behind rotating those players, and because they will be fully fresh and raring to go now. So congestion, yes, there will be. There has to be. But there's no choice, is there? It's going to be the same for everyone. It's going to be whose squad is who's the most ready, and I feel ours at this stage. You've got to say mentally as well. Let's not talk about the physical state of the squads, the mental state of the other squads that we will probably touch on or spoken about, shattered, battered. So it doesn't worry me overly, especially as we're trying to improve the squad as well. We're in the market for players, so we've got a strong squad. So I think everything's fine in that sense for me.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, as we're all aware as well, Liverpool are over in Austria now having a nice little pre-season jolly up. Before we go on, there's a comment there, 470 watching at the moment, and we're up to 195 likes. Lads, smash that like button. You know yourselves. We've loads of stuff still to come, so get liking. But yeah, Liverpool, they're in Austria on their pre-season. The lads look relaxed. They look recharged. Have you been keeping up with the content over there, Seany? I know you're a big fan of any Liverpool content that comes out, especially the training stuff.
Yeah, I watched the inside training this morning, all 15 to 12 minutes of it.
Yeah.
They look great. They look great in the night gear. Everyone looks good. Everyone looks relaxed. Good to see a few of the faces who were away back, like Brewster, Grujic, Harvey Elliott looks like he's at the ground a little bit, even though it's only been 3 weeks. He looks like he's at the filling out a little bit for some. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the tight night gear. And
that could be it.
Just the content has been great on Instagram from the players, the likes of Milner and Robertson. The lads just love being around each other. You can see it. So hopefully it's a platform to set us up on another successful season, and can't wait to see. I don't know what the story is going to be in terms of pre-season friendlies or how we're going to get a look at them, but it's nice to know that we'll have had as much as a break as any of the ones who may be around us. So can't wait. Jesus, I thought we'd never get football back at some stage before Project Restart, and now we can't get enough of it. Like, we'll be back just before we know it.
Yeah, it's looking good. Jonathan Davis, if you hit 400 likes, we'll tweet Bernardo and ask him for the Daytrippers shout out. I think Bernardo might deactivate him by now.
I like that
fairness.
One. Yeah, I like that one. Start just asking Bernardo, does he like us? I'm into that.
Big fan of the show. Expect the tweet in 3, 2, 1. Now, Gav, what have you made of the lads over there? Do you think they look relaxed, whereas the other teams probably be a bit more stressed? The City and United boys, other things on their minds, and straight back in, as Seany touched on, they don't get the extra time if they'd have gone further in the competitions.
If they'd have got the finals, they would have got an extra week off the Premier League. Is that right?
Yeah.
But listen, we look. It's great to see them back. It's weird though, isn't it? Like to think we finished on whatever date, and it's just like we're back, and then it's like 2 weeks to the Charity Shield, is it? 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then another week. No, is it another week then? Another
2 weeks.
2 weeks onto the league. Dates are all over the place. But no, look, they look relaxed. I think it was great that they got away. There was talk at one time, would they be able to go over to Evian, isn't it? They're going to, would they be able to go there because of COVID-19, the pandemic, and would they be able to, I suppose, just get away and people that say, "Oh, well, you could train at Melwood." It's different. Getting away and being away from familiar surroundings. It feels a bit more like it's not time off. They're going to be working hard, but it feels different to Melwood, and it's just back into work. That way. But no, the lads look great. They're cycling around on bikes. They're on scooters. Virgil's wearing tops with 14 Nike signs on them, just in case anyone didn't know who sponsors us or makes our jerseys. Sadio Mane is going around with his top off, just cycling around the gaff.
I do that.
I know you do, down by Leighton Orient, Brisbane Road.
Yeah.
But look, Keith, we can only look after ourselves, and City obviously last night, their season ended last night, and they're looking at 4 weeks to the start of their campaign now because they're not in a charity shield. Arsenal are in a bit all over the shop. But United then have finished with no trophies to get top four, but again, they've a month to get themselves back and up and running again. Whereas we've had that little extra break, although we probably didn't want it, we would have loved to be involved in the Champions League stuff. But it's kind of worked out the way everything's fallen, that we've had a couple of weeks off, we've come back now, and we've a month to get ourselves going with that break off the back of it. So great to see them back. I just can't wait for the season to start again. I really can't, because I think Liverpool are just going to put the foot down again and just absolutely go for it, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's looking that way, all right. I think they're the vibes coming out. Grizz, what are you thinking about it? The pre-season, they've had nearly a few games at the end of last season to work on things that he might have done during pre-season, so it's worked out very well for us.
Yeah, no, I said it. I was adamant that the last 4 or 5 games are like pre-season friendlies for Klopp and the coaches. There was no way they weren't going to use those games in preparation for the new season, whether it's resting players, whether it's trying players, whether it's trying formulas. It's not a problem. I don't think it's a problem even if we go into we've got the charity shield. We probably organise one friendly and we're good to go. Looks lovely out there in Austria. The scenery just looks like the back of my garden. It's amazing. They could have come to my garden to sort of train if they wanted to. But yeah, fair play to them. They look chill. They look relaxed.
You had them out.
Hey?
Couldn't get a push bike. You had it out.
Yeah, exactly. Topless. But, they look fresh in the mind. And that's going to be so crucial,
ITK tattoo showing off and all. They're going around.
They look, that's my number plate, mate. They've got...
number plate.
They look fresh in the mind. You can see just chilled, relaxed. It just shows you where we are as a club. That's how they are. That's how we are. We're totally relaxed, just sort of concentrating on ourselves, oblivious to sort of all the shenanigans going on at other clubs. And, as Gav says, I just can't wait. Honest to God, we never knew, going back to about 3-4 months, we never knew if we're going to see any football this year, guys. And then we have the ending that we had. And now we're going to have this sort of loads of football up to December or whatever, all throughout the year. It's amazing. Bring it on, man.
Yeah.
Rumours going around here, Grizz, that you bike on a 4-wheeler.
Well, there's bring a picture, show me a picture, prove it. You got to prove it.
Yeah, make these claims. You come at the king, you better not miss.
What an outburst.
But with the pre-season stuff that's been coming up, we've seen a few familiar faces, as was touched on by Seany. We've seen Brewster there in the gear. We've seen Grujic. We've seen Karius. What is the likelihood of those lads staying? Because with the shortened window, not the shortened transfer window, but with the shortened window with the season starting and not many friendly games coming up, they have much chance of forcing their way in. Gav, what do you think with the lads that are there?
Same as any other pre-season, Keith. You bring these players back, like they'll continue to look at Curtis Jones, probably not as much now. He's being given a squad number that suggests that he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. But the likes of Harvey Elliott and Nico Williams, the two that were around the squad last season and will continue to be this season. But the likes of Brewster coming back, like any other pre-season, they bring him back. They look at the condition he's in. They see what differences there is to him. They would have been getting reports probably on a weekly basis from Swansea to say how he was doing both on and off the pitch. But he'll be looked at, he'll be assessed. I still think he'll end up out on loan somewhere, hopefully in the Premier League side, somewhere like a Leeds or a Sheffield United, somebody that likes to play football. But Grujic, I think it's just a case of you keep him fit, and I can see him. I can see him going in the window. Being honest with you, I'm probably skipping ahead. But has Harry Wilson travelled to Austria?
No.
So, that's a fairly telling sign. You know,
Yeah.
of someone that finished a Premier League campaign nearly a month ago. He should be there if he's in Liverpool's plans in any way, even to be assessed and looked at as well. So, I never make too much out of these pre-seasons. For me, it's just it's keeping them in, it's keeping them fit, it's keeping them in the loop, and you know what, at the drop of a hat, one of those could be just out of that camp on a plane back to Liverpool or on a plane to somewhere, some destination, because they're moving or going on loan. So we'll have to wait and see. I think the one that's come back off loan that probably has the biggest chance would be Brewster.
Yeah, Shawnee, what do you think? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think all of those options be weighed up. I think it depends actually what happens as well in terms of incomings and outgoings, because if Origi was to go, and I'd say they might assess whether it'd be best for Brewster to go out on loan, or is it time now for him to have a crack at Liverpool? And I know he said himself that he wants to have a go at Liverpool, and look, that's all well and good and all, but I think the powers that be will decide what happens there, because I'm being honest, I think in terms of an attacker, Liverpool might still be looking at what's going on with Jadon Sancho before they make any mad moves on bringing in a forward this year, because if there's a chance that Sancho stays at Dortmund and is available next year, I think they might keep that powder dry in terms of bringing in an attacker, and probably go with what we already have. And if that means probably keeping Brewster around for another year or keeping Origi around for another year. But yeah, I think Grujic will go. I think there's too much interest from clubs around for Grujic to stay.
Yeah.
And with midfield being packed already and the talk of who coming in, I think there won't be room for Grujic there. In terms of Karius, I think Karius is dead field as well. I think he's gone as soon as any offer comes in. I don't know. I think Klopp will now have all his ducks in a row now, because there's not actually that long to prepare. So look, 12th of September is supposed the first game. I think Klopp will know exactly who he wants in his squad before then, whether that's with new signings or what he already has there.
Yeah, good stuff. What is going on with Stu Macia? Hasta Sevilla. Nice one, yeah.
Yeah, he's changed his username to Hasta Sevilla Ole.
Ole.
And I just thought I'd give him a mention for that. It's Stu Mac though.
Fairness, Stu Mac, it rolls off the tongue, pal. Well
yeah,
done.
it does, yeah.
A great name.
Try saying that with 8 cans on you.
We'll be just calling them Stu if we see that popping up, so we'll know who
and
it is.
just to go back, Keith, real quick, JLFC there says in the chat, if fish security is a blessing. I agree. Look, availability security is one of those players where you don't really have any issue with his ability, it's his availability, and it's kind of saying if security can stay fit, it's a big if. It's a massive if, you know what I mean? And it's one I'd hang me hat on going into this season, but I think he's a brilliant player when fit, but if there was a suitable offer to come in for him, he'd be another one who I reckon is off straight away.
Yeah, I agree. Grizz, I want to come to you, and the lads have mentioned Harry Wilson there. He's been linked with a few moves. What are you thinking about his future?
I think most of the guys' future will be sorted before.
Yeah.
It's, Klopp may say, well, they're all coming back to the pre-season and they've all got a chance and we'll assess it. They've assessed it. We've got scouts and people watching them at their clubs, how they performed in every game. Klopp gets a match-by-match report, detailed reports. I think the decision's been made on majority. I think Wilson's one of those that decisions has been made as soon as we get an offer, and he's gone. Same with Grujic. I know Shawnee says a fit Shaqiri. There's no such thing, is there? There's no such thing as a fit Shaqiri, and so I think they're 3 dead sturts along with Karius. Wilson, Shaqiri. The interesting one for me is Brewster. He's another one that just, I change my mind every night thinking, Brewster, does he deserve a chance? But I think, and we was chatting in the WhatsApp last night that 100% agree where I say that it's linked to the stuff at Sancho. We will have very much interested eye on the events at Dortmund and Old Trafford to see if Sancho moves. If Sancho doesn't move, I expect Origi to stay. And we'll go. Sorry, yeah. If Sancho stays, then I expect Origi to stay, and then we're going to go big on Sancho next season. But if Sancho moves, then I expect personally Origi to be moved along, and then we'll look for a wide attacker. And I think everything else will be decided in terms of the players that we mentioned, the Carragher and etc. etc. But that one, the Origi one, we will go deep late into the window and see what the situation is and see how we are. But pre-season, they'll all come back. Most of them will know where they are in terms of, are they being moved on, are they being loaned out. We won't be loaning them out. That's for sure. So we're either going to use them for this congested period, or we're going to sell them if we get an offer. So that's the state of play, in my opinion.
So I asked you about Harry Wilson, Grizz, and you said zero about Harry Wilson.
No, I said
everybody else.
No, I said. I'm sure I said.
No, you didn't. That's amazing. No.
Okay. I thought it was obvious.
Ask him about Brewster and he'll tell you about Wilson.
Listen, our listeners know they're intelligent. Wilson's gone. Wilson's is a matter of the first acceptable bid. What that acceptable bid for us is, I'd assume it's anything over 15 million, and he's a gone.
The fact he's not even in Australia would show that there's probably something already in the works here.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't say that. That's the Mandela effect, Gav. I said Australia.
Effect. Watching the '95 Rugby World Cup earlier.
Yeah, Wilson. The good thing is, there's rumours of Bournemouth wanting him full time now. They had an obligation to buy it for 23 million. We're not looking at 23 million now. We'll accept 17, 18 million for him. And Bournemouth have got money. They've sold Ake. They've sold that Ramsdale. So
has he gone to Sheffield United?
Yeah,
he
18 million.
18 million. So they have some money to spend. They've got some good reserve keepers. They may not. I think that Borat is still at Bournemouth, if I'm not mistaken. So they've got decent keepers. They may not spend. No, they definitely won't spend that kind of money on a keeper. So if they give that money to us, that 18.5 million, they can have Wilson all day long.
Have they got a manager yet?
Yeah.
Who's the manager?
Some fella that played 200 games. I can't remember his name.
Wasn't he the assistant?
Was he the assistant? I don't know, but he's been.
I think he was Eddie Howe's.
But that would make sense then. Why they'd still be linked?
Something Tyndall, is it?
Yeah, John Tyndall or something. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Frank Tyndall.
Jason Tyndall or something like that.
But it makes sense why they're still linked, I suppose. If he was part of the setup there last season, because I thought with Howe going, that might have killed off the link. But there seems to be a few clubs, Shawnee, sniffing around Wilson, doesn't there? There seems to be interest in him, but is anyone ready to pull the trigger?
Yeah, I don't think, maybe not for that money, but I think the fact that Bournemouth know him, and then the fact that I think Harry Wilson is an exceptional Championship player and probably an average Premier League player, if you get me. I think that league suits him much better. So I think it'd be a good investment for Bournemouth, in my point of view, of course, because we'd have 18 million for the player we're not using. And I can't see him moving though, because he's not there, he's not with the squad, and it would mean that something's in the pipeline regarding Wilson, definitely. Look, he was a player, like you're watching Sousa out there tonight for Sevilla. They're good players, they're really good technical players, but they just don't have it to make at Liverpool. They don't have, he hasn't got the pace to play in a club front three sort of thing. So I think he'd be moved on, and I think it'd be a good move for both parties. Espírito Santo.
No, when he won't have a clue when he comes back either. What's going on?
I'll get off the screen when he comes back.
But Gav, what do you think with Harry Wilson?
Harry Wilson.
Tell you what to do. Grizz is gone, so just keep putting Nuno in the chat when he comes back, alright?
Say nothing. Yeah, go on, boys. Harry Wilson, I said it the other night when we were talking to Jacob from 90 Minutes. And Grizz has been talking, and Seany as well, and yourself, Keith, and more of us in the WhatsApp group with regards to Sarah, and we think that might not be an afterthought, but one of those that it's an option there if it comes down to it later on in the window. But I would have been looking, if you're serious about Sarah, I would have been looking at Watford and going, listen, how about 20 million and Harry Wilson? I think it'd be a brilliant move for him. I agree with Seany. I think he's a brilliant championship player. But I don't know what it is when it comes to when it comes to the Premier League. I just can't see it. That's being honest with you.
All right, get the message. What's all this fucking Nuno shit? All right, fucking Nuno. Yeah, Nuno Espirito.
Espirito.
Is that his name?
Yeah,
That's the Pro Evo. That's the Pro Evo version.
Pro Evo version, yeah. But no, look, Newcastle, Bournemouth are linked. We were linked yesterday. We're looking for him permanently, and they've taken in 60 million quid. So they feel they can go out and spend that 15, 16, 17, whatever it might be. Liverpool should be looking close. If it's Bournemouth, Liverpool should be looking at 20 million and saying, look what he's done for you. He's worth it, But Newcastle have been looked around. I agree with Seany. He's not in Austria. He's not even in Australia. And
Newcastle not offered any money. Newcastle want him on loan. The only cash coming our way is a poultry. Bournemouth. They've offered 12 million at the moment. I think if we get about 15, 18.
Yeah,
Newcastle want him on loan.
I think Klopp would have brought him if there was any doubt about him moving. He would have been in Australia, So for me, it's one that makes sense for all parties. It's just unfortunate that Bournemouth done what he done last season, because we would have had 23 million absolutely nailed on from him. Yeah. So we'll have to wait and see.
It's a shame. It's a shame. I want to move away from Liverpool, lads, and I want to move on to European competition. And before we get to the big ones, I just want to get your opinions on how you have found the format of the Champions League and the Europa League over the one tie and the standard of the games. Seany, I'll come to you. What have you made of it, the game so far in that?
I love it. I love the format. I love the winner stays on format. I love it. I just think it's great. Stops you from these stupid game plans. Stops Atletico from doing what they did to us.
Yeah.
And that is a facet of football, but you're seeing both teams going for it there, and anything can happen. Even in the Europa League, it's been great. And it just gives the underdog a shout. Like, maybe I wouldn't go with the full knockouts as single ties, but hopefully look at a format where the semi-finals are played in a neutral venue. And it's just a single tie. I think it's very good. It leads for good entertainment, you know what I mean? Because after 90, them games are done and dusted. Like, my mom is Spanish and she hates Barcelona. And we were out having dinner the other night and we are sitting down and I said, the game was 8-2, Bayern and Barca. And she goes, 8-2? And she goes, yeah. And she goes, and what score was the first leg? I said, no, it's just tonight. Like, they just won 8-2 tonight. Like, there was 8 goals scored for Bayern Munich tonight. She was like, what the fuck? It just completely changes it, because the first 10 minutes of that Bayern Barca game was mental the other night.
Yeah. And you would Park job, wasn't it?
You wouldn't have got that if it was a 2-game tie, because it would have been cagey for a half. They would have been feeling each other out for 45 minutes. Had Barca been away, they would have just been pegged in. Whereas it was unbelievable to watch the other night. It's just two teams going at it. I much prefer the single leg. It's like watching the World Cup.
Yeah,
it is. It's changed the whole thing, Gav, hasn't it? The whole dynamic of the Champions League.
Well, it's something that had to be done because they're under obligation to finish the competition. You know, it's the bit like it's same as the Premier League, Keith. You know, don't finish it and you lose a shitload of money. So they found a way around it. I'm with Seany. I love the whole thing of quarter, semis, and final. Just pick a city and lash them all in there. The only thing is, if you get back to normality, you're going to have, you could have 8 sets of fans wandering around one city and it mightn't work logistically. Yeah. The other thing is that you would lose half of the games that UEFA would expect in the Champions League knockout stages, if you get me. So you're going to lose, 4 quarterfinals legs, 2 semi-final legs. So you'll be losing 6 of whatever, 14, 15 games. And they won't stand for that. They won't stand for not having 2 nights TV, 2 nights attendances at games, 2 nights advertising. They just will not have that. But I found it very exciting, and a bit like Seany says, you get into Well, some World Cups, some European champions can get very cagey after the early rounds are just mental. But I've really liked it. Because it's that form over a short space of time, and teams just feel like, oh, look, we just have to go for this. There's no playing our way into this. You either fucking play or you're going home. I really like it. It won't continue, but it's been good. I think it's been a really good resolution to a problem that he had.
Yeah, Grizz, how have you found it?
It's just been exciting. It's been fun to watch, but I wouldn't swap it for two-legged affairs, one at Anfield, one away. You can't take away that side of the emotion and the passion of your Anfield crowd and the tactics behind it. I agree it could do with some tweaking in terms of away goals rule or something, but not for me. I prefer the old format.
Oh, makes a good point there that if UEFA could make money out of it, they do it. I don't know how they would, but it has been exciting. And as Shawnee touched on there, we're seeing games like Bayern 8, Barcelona 2, where you'd got PSG coming back with 1-0 down, going into extra injury time and pulling 2 goals out. Before we even come on to the last couple of nights, there has been some really good games. We saw Atletico Madrid crashing out, that would have been more suited to the two-legged, as they showed against ourselves. They would have been more of a cagey team and would have more of a chess game. So it's been very exciting and it has been great. But I agree, I don't know how they could keep it in. Losing games loses money, doesn't it, for them? So if they can't get around that, I can't see it happening. But it has been exciting. And now that certain teams have been knocked out, we can just sit back and enjoy the latter stages of it. So I want to come on. We'll start off with the red half of Manchester. They went out tonight. The thing about United, right? I think they've been poor when they've come up against decent teams that have sort of been technically good. They smashed the arse off all the bottom feeders that they were expected to do. Now, don't get me wrong, they've had good results against City and that this season, but since the restart, when they played Southampton, for example, Southampton sort of put it up to them. Good teams did really give them a game. How do you think that sort of is a nail in the coffin for Solskjaer's season, and it's just been maybe a 6 out of 10 getting into the Champions League, or what would you think, Gav? How would you think their season has gone?
Better than I expected, I'm being honest with you. With him in charge, I didn't expect him to get top 4, but having said that, they nearly got there by default. Because of Brendan Rodgers and his mates. But yeah, I think you've hit on something there. They've gone out tonight to Sevilla after dominating Copenhagen, but still only winning 1-0. It's just a season where United fans are going to try and make this out as, we got to the semis and we beat City twice and all, so fucking what, and we made top 4 and it's progression under Ole. It's not really. It's the same amount of points as they got last season, and
no trophies.
No trophies, no nothing. So I think tonight kind of showed, like, Sevilla are wily old fuckers, and I think it showed tonight that, like, you look at United and they're top heavy for me, and they probably need, and they're going for Sancho, we know, and I think tonight's result makes it even more likely that he goes, by the way. But I think they didn't manage the game, and no matter how good these lads are going forward and stuff, you need people to manage games. We've seen it in Liverpool, so it's namely 13-14 at times when we couldn't manage certain scenarios because of we just thought just keep scoring goals and see what happens. But for me, there's way too much being made of Manchester United. There really is, and this is why the Sancho thing it's blown up, because it's a big transfer, but it's blown up so much because they know they need something. They need something to hold on to, and Sancho is it at the moment. But for me, it's a very, very average Premier League season for Manchester United. But having said that, they've overachieved for me with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as manager.
Shawnee, what do you make of them? Do you agree with Gav, or do you think there's more holes in that squad? I think you might have said earlier in the WhatsApp group about them pushing for Sancho when they've got a defence that they have. Like, is Sancho the man they need?
Yeah, it's this square pegs round holes job again at United, really, isn't it? I think if you would have offered any United fan at the start of the season towards, they would have snapped your hand off, Because look, if we're being realistic, they're probably the 5th or 6th best squad in England. I think that's a good result for Woodward and the boardroom to have them in touring back into the Champions League. But it's kind of false in a way, because the teams around them are shocking after the restart, and the back door just opened for United. And in fairness, you have to win your games, and you only beat what's in front of you, and they got in. But I don't think United are as far off as people think, or I don't think they're as close as some think either. But when you look at tonight, and if you had said to someone, see that United side, they're in the market to break the market for €100 million winger, you would have laughed saying, what the fuck, because they're an absolute car crash at the back.
Yeah.
They are terrible at the back.
Shocking.
They are absolutely awful at the back. And like you said, Keith, they were bowling over minnows all season. And any time they played a decent side after the break, Spurs should have beaten them. They had a penalty. Southampton played random ragged at Old Trafford. They got in the back door. They were shite against Leicester. They got results. If United are going to go down the road and scattergun all that money that they have in this window to Sancho, well then, all the best to them, because they'll be scrapping for fourth again next year if that's the way they're going about it.
Yeah, it's interesting. The 66 points in the league is the same they got last season, but somehow there's been progress. And I think Gav is right. It's been down to the poor teams around them more so than that.
There's another thing, Keith, as well. Tonight, they were knocked out by Sevilla. Lopetegui is a better manager than Solskjaer.
Yeah.
It's just as simple as that. He's a better manager with a good core of players there who know exactly what they have to do to win that competition. And that's what happened tonight.
That's such a good point, Shawnee. What I see with United is a very good set of players, but no coaching. You can see they're not coached. They're good players. I mean, that attack is frightening. I mean, they've got a fucking worldie in Greenwood there. Martial, Bruno and the lads. But you can tell they're just good. They're just very good footballers put on a pitch. Whereas, you could see even Sevilla when they went down, you could see them working their way back in the game. And Gav touched upon game management. And so much is made about Bruno and Pogba and all this. But the star of the show was a lad who's retiring to Saudi Arabia next season, I believe, Eva Banega. And he ran that show from start to end. And he's one of the oldest probably players there, but so much experience, so much intelligence. You want to talk about game management and knowing when to play, how to play. He got caught once, I believe, so it wasn't a perfect performance. He got caught once, I believe, where Martial nicked the ball off him. But generally, overall, you talk about game management and how he controlled and how he didn't let the team panic around him when they went 1-0 down. I thought it was superb. So I know, Maguire with his no-look defending, trying to, freaking do a bobby. Absolutely, it's horrendous, it's horrible. But long may it continue. Sorry, I don't want to highlight it in case United, because we know United watch this game. Yeah, these big boys watch our shows, so I don't want to give any sort of our opinions and ideas away. We're football men, right? So
cricket men.
But we look at the defense, and they're appalling. But again, it's down to coaching. Wan-Bissaka is a good defender one-on-one. He's a tenacious tackler, but he looks so out of line when they're trying to play offside. They have no concept of when to hold the line, when to play the line. So on set pieces, they're horrible. And even in midfield, I'm sorry, I'm not buying this hype about midfield. They still yet to show me against good teams how they control games. They may have good counter-attack abilities.
They don't have the ability to control games.
If that was a top-class midfield, how come Sevilla are popping around them for the last 10 minutes tonight?
That's my point, yeah.
But you see, this is the thing.
They were chasing shadows for the whole game.
But you see, what I mean? When you look at the makeup of their midfield, look, Nemanja Matic doesn't start there tonight, and I thought he would have been nailed on to start. But he's probably the closest thing to defensively sound and a bit of nous about him. Where Fred is a decent athlete, but he's not going to control the game. Pogba wants to go forward. He wants to go forward, and that's it. McTominay, they call him something like Sauce or something. I don't know what the fuck he's called, but like
Sauce.
yes, like come on, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? But he's on the
Must
bench.
It must be fucking Tesco value mayonnaise if we're talking about sauce.
KVI it is. But the thing is, like, when you look at the makeup of that midfield, they don't have it in them to control it. Like, I'll put it to you this way: if you stick a Gini Wijnaldum into that side, he is going to just rampage around the place, and when he gets it, he's never giving it away. But watch United's midfield, and Seany and Grizz are bang on. They are good assets to Manchester United for players, but they are not being coached and they are not being set in a way. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, at the lowest of the low, decided he was just going to throw all these players on the pitch and tell them, you play in these positions, but you just go and do what you fucking want. And it worked for him.
Some of our fans call him Ole Gunnar freestyle.
For fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Like it's madness, and that's how limited he is as a manager. And you know, we all watched Terry on the football terrace and United mad and all, but like some of the shy people are talking about United is criminal, to be honest with you. You know, I think they're very limited.
It's mad
in the people they have and the way they try play football. I think they're very, very limited.
United are going big on Sancho there, right? They have Champions League football next year. You can't tell me if they just dropped the Sancho chase for a minute, went and bought out All Black Elvis' contract and got a decent centre half, say man Gabriel, who everyone's after from Lille, they'll be closer to challenging for the title than they would had they just brought in a Sancho.
Yeah,
because
couldn't agree more.
I don't think United will have an issue with scoring goals next year. Going forward, I don't, because I think they're very good going forward. Whether that's just because they have very good footballers in that area. It's nothing to do with coaching, but we all got to see the difference it makes when you have a top centre half and a top goalkeeper. De Gea is done. It's not a bad run of form. He's been poor for 18 months. Harry Maguire is an 80 million centre half who needs his hand held.
Yeah.
People are saying, oh, well, Solskjaer's signings have been decent. Wan-Bissaka has been all right. Like, the talks about being, exactly. I don't think they got 50 million's worth for a fullback. Harry Maguire, we can grant to Harry Maguire, and Bruno Fernandes, he's transformed them in a way, but they're miles off. And like, we're going to touch on the City now, but like, it's going to be us and City again next year, and even whether they're going to be there or thereabouts is yet to be seen, because I think last night is a watershed moment for them, but we'll get on to that.
Beautiful segue, Seany. Beautiful segue. We'll move on to the blue half of Manchester now. They crashed out. There was an absolute arrogance about them in the lead up, and I don't mean by fans and media, I mean by their players and nearly everyone associated with Man City, that this was their Champions League. Who wants to start on Man City?
I think there's only one man to start on Man City. He's got a case of portfolio. He's been sort of.
What's the briefcase coming up under the table now?
You know what I mean?
Hold on, I share my screen and this PowerPoint have been working out for 24 hours. Listen, Manchester City, I'm going to say it now, I think it might be time for Pep Guardiola to look to get away from Manchester City. And I think it might be time for Manchester City to look to get away from Pep Guardiola. And that is not down to Pep Guardiola's ability as a manager or the stuff that he's achieved. But having said that, he's wrecking his own head. He is absolutely wrecking his own head in a pursuit of something that's killing him. And, you know, people joke that, you know, he's never won a Champions League without Lionel Messi. He hasn't won one in 9 years, despite having Barcelona, despite having Bayern Munich, and despite having unlimited funds at Manchester City. He's wrecking his own head. You can see him. He's absolutely self-combusting on sidelines now. And it's wearing off on his players. And his players, like people say after 3 years, players get tired of him or they can't keep up with his pursuit of perfection. It may well be a pursuit of perfection because of the way he sees the game or his ideologies of the game. But for me, it's more of a... You know the way people say the weight of the short and stuff like that? Liverpool's short carries a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. It's like these players are running around with Pep Guardiola on their shoulders. And I think for me, just watching them on the let's be honest about it. A fella that's a student of a game does not be rolling around the sideline after you miss a chance like that. You just don't. Yeah. You can see him cracking up, and you see people saying, well, he's done this and he's done that. He's failed at Manchester United or Manchester City. It's as simple as that. Because, listen, he was brought in to do one thing and one thing only, right? If leagues came, they came, but he was brought in to win the Champions League, and they've given him everything he's wanted. I've seen people saying, "Oh, Begerstein, isn't it, who looks after transfers? Guardiola has no say in transfers. Give me a fucking break." You know what I mean? It's not as if Guardiola's sitting there going, "Oh, well, yeah, I'll have him," and "Oh, you bought me him. Oh, great." Guardiola has every say in everything at Manchester City. He wouldn't be there otherwise, and he is now. He's done 4 seasons at Manchester City. He finished 4th in his 4th season. He does the 2 where he wins the title, one with 100 points and one with 98 points, and you can't take them away from him. But League Cups are masking over stuff here, and walking around with charity shields and claiming formidables and stuff like that. It's papering over the fact that he is being given everything he's asked for and more probably, and he has been an absolute and utter failure when it comes to European football, not only for Manchester City, but you could argue for Bayern Munich as well, who at the time just strolled through the Bundesliga and he could literally
They won a treble. They won a treble before he went in.
Yes, in 2013 they won a treble under the fella's name. Poinkus. And when you look at him, it's just a continuation. Bayern Munich to Man City is a continuation, and he's melting his own brain. And look, I'm not against it. If he wants to continue doing it, I'm all for it. But for me, I genuinely think it may be a time where Pep Guardiola just thinks, because I can't guarantee some of his players are thinking, this is never going to happen.
Yeah, that I'll go next. I'm gonna take the reins, Gav. I think you hit the nail perfectly on the head. The weight of playing under Guardiola is a big thing. I read Graham Hunter's book about that Barcelona side, and in the end, he had to walk away because he saw his methods were actually having long-term damage on some of the players. They couldn't keep up with the intensity of his methods, and I think last night is a bit of a watershed moment to see how somber De Bruyne was after the game. He was kind of like, yeah, same year, different year, same story. They look defeated. He's becoming more and more petulant. But one thing Gav failed to touch on is how much, and I'm not just saying this, we are living in their heads. It's fucking crazy. The amount of times Pep throughout the season has turned towards, has used Klopp, has said something about Liverpool, and then you look at what Bernardo Silva done tonight. It's not a good sign if you're a Man City fan and you see that players taking swipes like this, reacting to stuff like this, like that could really, really break them. I just think the thing is with City is, when you look at it, they're a gang of mercenaries there, really. It's a collective of individually brilliant players, but he's failed to make them a team. Doesn't seem to be any real camaraderie there. It's sort of like, it's a bit like a fucking high level private school where all the good students go, but they're free to do whatever they want. When you look at Mendy and the carry on of him at the club, like the cheerleader walking around when he should be in the stands
in his Instagram.
When he's walking around, he should be in the stands in his tracksuit, but he's walking around with chains and everything hanging off him like he's a fucking rapper or something like that. Like, it's just, I don't know. Scott Willock hit the nail on the head. You can't buy heart and you can't buy determination and tenacity. If Guardiola could go into the market tomorrow and buy bottles of heart, tenacity and will, he'd probably spend 250 million on it trying to dish you out around the squad. Not one of them in that. They had company. Playing for Manchester City mattered to Vincent Kompany. Playing for Manchester City matters to David Silva. He's gone. They're hanging their hopes on this kid Foden, who I believe is the best of all the English talents, to be honest, around at the moment. Up there with Sancho. It's just the head loss is gone. The better players are approaching over the hill territory. Aguero, De Bruyne could go to any team in the world. Whereas you look at us, Van Dijk offered more money to play for Chelsea, offered more money to play for City, came to play for Liverpool. To a lesser extent, Oxlade-Chamberlain offered more money to play for Chelsea, came and played for Liverpool. Andy Robertson, given a chance from the Championship. There you go. I believe in you, son. Go ahead. I'll back you to the hilt. So what's going on there? City have spent 50 million on whatever fullbacks. They spent however much on centre backs. That young lad Eric Garcia, who looks a fucking brilliant talent, who's come through Man City since a very young age, who's been very good since the restart. Pep wants nothing to do with him because he won't coach these players. He will not coach these players. Guardiola will not coach these players. And I've seen someone saying, "Yeah, man, Sicky, he brings in all the players." Me bollocks. Guardiola is firing these fellas out. They were all saying that Guardiola was the ruthless one when he told Joe Hart not to even show up training.
Yeah.
So pick your battles. Exactly. Guardiola is fast approaching, in English terms, a busted flush. And I've seen people there turn around and saying, "He'll go back and manage Barca." Will he fuck? Because Barcelona needs complete and utter head to toe surgery. They need surgery. They need major surgery. And I say one thing. For me, Guardiola is definitely one of the greatest managers the game has ever had. Because look, let's not be around the bush. This City team he created in that pomp is one of the best we've ever seen. That Barca side are arguably the greatest club side I've ever seen.
Yeah.
His next job will say a lot more about him.
Yeah.
And will tell where his career goes. Because if he goes and takes the easier route or a PSG or a Juve, it will always be over his head. It'll always be over his head. Look, what's the story with Pep? How good it was his manager? Yeah, he was great, but let's be honest. He went and managed the treble winning Bayern side, didn't pull up any praise. He went to City with unlimited cash, won a few league titles, 100 points, 98 points. Didn't do it in Europe. He's only ever won a Champions League with Messi. So, I don't know.
It's a strange one, it is. Go ahead, Gav. Go ahead.
Just before Grizz gets on, because Grizz is head of... Seany's the head of everything, but Grizz is the head of social media with us. And before he gets on to Bernardo Silva. But Ella, I've left that point up on the screen for a reason. She says, why change a back five with Garcia, who has played his second Champions League game yesterday? Overthought the game. That's what the problem is, right?
Yeah.
I seen Brendan Rodgers do that in a cup semi-final against Aston Villa at Wembley, where he changed the system over and over and over again throughout one game, okay, and was hammered for it, quite rightly. And Pep Guardiola went out there yesterday, and I don't know whether he was trying to be clever, whether he was trying to be pragmatic, whether he's seen something in Leon that he didn't think the 4-3-3 would work, which was mind-blowing to me, because Man City put their three up against Leon's three. Leon's wing backs immediately track back and go, listen, we can't leave that 3-on-3. And that for me was the biggest sign last night. When I seen that team come out last night and he was trying to match up Leon, I thought, what are you doing? You know, and just touching quickly before Grizz comes in on the transfer stuff. Eric Garcia is a player that, like Seany says, is there for years coming through at Man City, right? So if Stein is pulling all these players in and making the decisions, is Guardiola not turning around going, well, he's in my team, I don't need anybody else, you know, I'm going to play him? No, he's not. He's turning around and he's just going, go out and get me X, Y, and Z, and the other fella's going and doing it. He's a brilliant circumstance manager, I'll put it to you that way. If the circumstances suit, he's amazing. But I've never seen him in a circumstance that hasn't suited, and you will never see him in it, because he's way too much to lose for me.
See, with me, my take before I get to Grizz, excellent points as well, you've both made on this. My take on Guardiola, I think, you know, you said that is Barcelona side is probably the greatest club side we've seen. His City side he transformed, and his Bayern side he did innovate that Bayern team as well. You know, he made tactical changes there. They were a great team. The way that European Cup is just absolutely crippling on him, and the stick he gets for not winning more without Barcelona. You know, it's not many managers win lots of Champions Leagues. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard trophy to win, but he's just becoming obsessed, and it's like it's wearing on him every season, and he's just becoming so emotional about it that he can't see straight. You know, he can't see clear. He's just tunnel visioned about the Champions League. And he just can't get over the hump. Like, I don't know what is up with him. I had an argument on Twitter last night, a debate with a Premier League account, and I said he's been an abject failure at City, and they said he hasn't, because he hasn't. The City season hasn't been a disaster with the Champions League. It's just been disappointing.
The one thing I'd say, an abject failure at City will remain to be seen when he goes. If if a manager can't go in behind Pep and use what he's put in place, then he has been a failure, because this is the end game for Caldeon and the Saudis. Pep Guardiola was the end game. They've waited the whole time to get him in, and if he can't get the Champions League over the line, they're thinking, well, then what the fuck are we going to do here? What did he put in place? Did he put a structure in place that we can have, like, we can push on for years to go? Because we know when Klopp goes, his footprint will be embedded in Liverpool, from the new Kirby training complex to every single team from top to bottom playing the one way, to giving us an identity. City have got an identity, but it's back post happens at the back post.
They've got an identity that it's very, very difficult to sustain without a Pep in charge.
Correct. So when he goes
at Barcelona, it was very similar. It took years for them to recover after Pep left. At Bayern Munich, they've only recently recovered after he's left. He had great success at those clubs, just like he's at City, in terms of where they were and where they are now, in terms of the football that all three clubs have played. I'm a fan of Pep Guardiola, the coach. I disagree he's one of the greatest managers of all time. I agree that he's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah, sorry, coach is the correct word.
I think managing a team, managing a football club is a total different ball game, and that fella with the goggles and the ginger beard over at Liverpool has got it mastered to a T. Just like Alex Ferguson had it mastered to a T. Just like, all the greats, Fabio Capello had it mastered to a T. Managing a football club is just more than a coach. This guy, and someone made a brilliant point. I'm so sorry I forgot your name. I should have remembered it. Someone said someone said he plays FIFA Manager in real life. And when you play FIFA Manager, all these computer games, there comes a point where you're trying to be too clever. And that's what happens to him. He's not thinking straight. Well, as soon as I saw he's playing Lyon, let's not forget, he's not playing Liverpool in his head. He's not playing Juventus or Madrid or whoever. He's playing Lyon there, and he's changed his whole setup to accommodate them. Pep doesn't do that usually. He only does that when there's a bit of insecurity in his head, just a bit of insecurity, and he muddies the waters and the players. And he said, and I'm not sure if he said it or I read it somewhere, where he tends to give up when he realizes or he thinks that the players are not responding to him. And he's one of those coaches where he thinks everyone should be on the same wavelength, speed of thought, speed of pass, speed of turn as him. And when he sees that failing players, he tends to give up or just buy a new one, as opposed to sort of, rectify the problem. I think, and I agree with Gav. Gav and Shawnee said most of the points that I was going to make anyway, so there's no point in repeating what they said. But it's indicative of, this season has been indicative of City, when you talk about the polar opposite of us, where we are mentality monsters. They're the opposite. They have hardly won a game where they've gone behind. Even yesterday, as soon as they've gone behind, they've got an awful record of going behind and not being able to turn it around.
Yeah. They've wilted under pressure every turn this season. Every single turn. But they look how far we were 19 points ahead in the end, were we?
18.
Yeah.
18. There you go. Like they weren't anywhere near their level this year. And this Champions League was made for them. Pep trying to reinvent the wheel and be clever again. Should have just went with what he went with. He played two up top, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sterling and Jesus.
He played his two most predictable attackers as well. Like the type of players you don't want to play against. Like I played defence. Type of players you don't want to play against are the ones who can go either side. Bernardo Silva or Mahrez.
How did he played Mahrez? Mahrez was probably their best player in that second half of the season. Yeah. When he got a continuous run of games, and he goes and drops him and changes him.
I said it earlier. If Pep had to inherit the team like Klopp did, he'd be crawling the walls on a straight track. That's not word of a lie.
But you can see his anxiety. You can actually see his anxiety.
Yeah. There's going to be something's going to happen there next year in a training session or something like that. There's going to be some sort of a defect there. Well, one of the big stars at City, I reckon, next year. I reckon that the first sign of adversary next season, they will snap big time. Honestly, I don't think they have to go. I'm not sure when the fixtures are out. If the fixtures come out and you're looking at Liverpool go and win the 4, 6 or 7 games next year, I'm telling you now, forget about it.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
That's true. Yeah.
I'd agree. Although I would say he's under less pressure in the league, and this is why people aren't making much of their performance in the league this season, because
I don't know whether he is on
the Champions League.
I don't know whether he will. But Gav, when you look at it now, he's only won the Carabao Cup this year.
I understand that, but I think the Man City owners would look at it, and if they were turning into March, April next year and facing down a Champions League quarter final and we're sitting fourth, way off the pace, they wouldn't give a shit. They'd just be looking at we're still in the Champions League, because that's their end game, Johnny, and the end game is the Champions League, like you said, and so is Pep Guardiola. But there's only. I just look at that man and I just see him literally just falling apart before our eyes, and every time something falls off him, it lands on the players, and you can see it. It's not even a fatigue thing. It's actually just
a mental fatigue thing.
It's a mental torture. That's the only words I can put on it.
He keeps saying that he's never been chased by a team, or he's never come up against a team as good as Liverpool, and people laugh and scoff at it, saying, "Oh yeah, Real Madrid when he was at Barcelona, this, that, and the other." The mental toughness of Liverpool is like nothing that Jose's Real or any of them teams done.
Nothing like he's ever
right
seen.
What he says, yeah,
absolutely he is, and people forget he is. He means that when he says that, because I'll tell you why. And he's made a fatal error where he's said it in public, and his players believe that as well now.
But
it's not only him.
This is the downside of having Amazon following you around the fucking dressing room as well. When he's playing good as everything in the league game in Goodison Park, and he's talking about Salamana and Firmino.
Yeah.
Before kickoff, and the lads are out warming out. I'm telling you, we haven't made a big enough deal of how I hate the fucking phrase rent free.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit fucking FIFA YouTube talk, fucking this sort of stuff. You see Sky pushing out these days. But
wish my rent was free.
They are obsessed with us to a point where it's actually bad for them when it comes down to conflict, because you look at us, we win with class. They won the treble, so however the Formidables last year. They're on a plane singing a song about a Liverpool fan being battered in the streets.
Yeah.
This is all on video. And we're not talking about this enough. They're a gang of fucking petulant little babies. Bernardo Silva, see the way he carried on. Oh, well, we don't win individual awards. He wouldn't even clap us onto the pitch. He hadn't got the go for it.
He walked off that line as well before the players were out.
Only 2 players had the go to come out and say Liverpool were what they were in this season. One was Kevin De Bruyne, and the other was Gundogan, because Gundogan has obviously a loyalty and a respect to Klopp, and he carried himself with class. You look at the way they go on. Sterling, Joe Gomez changed Sterling's nappy in front of the Anfield Road end at Anfield before Christmas, and his head was gone for 3 or 4 months after. He didn't exactly. Yeah, he had caused murder at the England training ground. The petulant little babies, they haven't got the head. I'm telling you, if we crack on next year and have a strong start, they will crumble. They won't. I'm telling you, they won't be anywhere near us again. I'm telling you, mark it down. I'm not joking you.
So before
you want to talk about Bernardo, go ahead.
Nerd ZA says Pep's record is identical to Pellegrini's, except he's won 1 extra League Cup, whereas Pellegrini got to a UEFA Champions League semi-final. Pep hasn't.
When you put it that way,
yeah.
Every week at the end,
I'm going to use that tomorrow.
That has legs, but
that has legs, arms, and fucking tail.
Everything has a tail and everything. But there you go. And people will say, like, when a team isn't playing well and they win, it's all about results. Well, there's the result. There's the result right in front of you.
Exactly.
It's mad. But on Bernardo, he's just an idiot. From start to finish.
He's symptomatic of the team, isn't he?
I wouldn't waste too many minutes on him. I
wouldn't waste too many minutes on him, but he reaped what he sowed. And if he can't handle that, it just comes back to Shawnee's point of being spoiled brats. You can give it and you can throw it out there, and you can be quite disgusting in what you do. Let's be honest about it. And Liverpool fans having a little go back, and he feels that that's not good enough. Bernardo Silva probably epitomises the outlook and the mentality and the lack of mental toughness in this Manchester City side right now by what he done today.
He fucked with the wrong fan base though. What a stupid fool, huh? He actually thought he's gonna just sort of, we're gonna stay quiet, like we haven't got no fans, like they haven't got no fans, and it will just die.
He expected a lot of apologies in his messages after he put out, sorry Bernardo, you're only having a laugh.
Do you know what I mean?
Come on, man. Come on.
I told him to appeal to Cass, you know what I mean? But I don't know if he's gonna take up my advice.
That's it. They can divert that plane. So we'll finish up with them unless anyone has anything else you want to add about them.
No, I'm done.
No.
Yeah, fuck them. Yeah,
right.
Fuck them.
Before we finish up, lads, we're an hour and 25 in here. Tiago.
Jesus.
Grizz. Tiago.
Well, you see all these reliable journalists coming out with what we said 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. So, you know, it is what it is. There's no actual update. They're up to date with us now. That's the update. They're up to date with where we were. Go on, sorry, Gaff.
Our last update was a bid.
Yeah, well, you know, they're saying that, you know, I don't think Christian Falk, his last tweet was negotiations will carry on or continue or something after the Champions League or start. What's happened now?
You won't get this one.
Oh, you won't get this one. But our book says Pep needs to go to Tibet with Christy Dignam for a while.
To know what we're going to do.
Is that an Irish joke?
Yeah.
We need to start framing some of these comments and put them up on the wall behind us in the studio. Just no context list, no comments.
Yeah, quality.
Exactly,
yeah, but so, you know, Christian Falk's just said, he's reiterated there's going to be talks after the Champions League, which you know, there is. He's what I think, and I responded to his tweet. What I think he means by that. I wish he was here to sort of confirm it, but what I think is
he could be in the chat.
Yeah, it will be concluded after the Champions League. Negotiations will be concluded. He will continue, but I think they will be continued after the Champions League. The only update, slight bit of ITK or whatever you want to call it, is Thiago has cancelled his holidays. He was supposed to go to Spain straight after the Champions League campaign. He's cancelled it, and which means he's going to sort of sort out this transfer, which is going to be to Liverpool.
It's mad, really, isn't it? Because the Echo have been reporting this, but the people they've been sending, it's like they're sending the young fellas out to the shops. Yeah. They're sending the apprentice out to get the rolls at lunchtime. They're sending, like, you had your man Theo Squires the Niner and some other fella who I never heard of before. Why isn't Gorst reporting this?
Yeah.
Why isn't Reddy shutting this down? Why isn't Pearce coming out and shutting this down? Where's Paul Joyce? Why isn't Klopp shutting it down when he's asked? It seems to me like this is done, and it's just they need to wait until the Champions League is finished. I'd imagine that. Yeah, I'd say there was Bayern were throwing out a line with PSG and City being interested. But I reckon it's done, and if it's not done, it's going to get done, because I don't think Bayern are going to let him go for free, because they won't let him run down the contract.
No.
And Liverpool aren't going to pay 30 million because they can literally get him for free at Christmas. Yeah. So there's going to be, if there's not a compromise already reached, surely there's going to be a compromise. And we had talked about fixture congestion earlier. I wouldn't worry about being bodies going in and out to hold Thiago. There's going to be games there for everyone.
Yeah,
simple as that. I think I can see it happening. Just you see the likes of Hendo and Trent and all. They're well aware of their position, and they're liking these videos on Instagram. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, they're not fools.
No.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, you know, there's too much smoke here for me.
Sure, he bought a gaff in Liverpool and all apparently today.
Yeah, and but there's too much smoke in it, and it's not even what people are saying; it's what people aren't saying. Like Shawnee said there.
Yeah,
exactly. You know, it's the silence. The silence speaks louder than anything else for me.
Exactly, and I would hazard a guess that 24 hours before Thiago signs for Liverpool, Melissa Reddy, Paul Joyce, James Pearce,
Correct.
Gorst will all come out with a similar story within an hour of each other, saying that Liverpool are close to signing Thiago, because that feels to me like that's what the club and these people have an agreement in place, that's how it works. You say nothing until we tell you to say something, and then we give you first go off it when something actually happens. But for me, there's too much smoke here, there's too much being said. There's very few denials coming out. The only kind of stuff that isn't lining up is, has talks happened? Some are saying it has, some hasn't. Has a bid gone in? Some are saying it has, some are saying it hasn't. Some are saying talks will continue. Other people feel no, it's just when they go out of the Champions League, this will be sorted. So they're the only things that aren't quite aligning, but there's too much there for me now. I think there's an extremely high chance of Thiago playing for
as
Liverpool.
Shawnee said there, the lack of other interest, petty little throwaway interest from PSG and Man City. There's nothing else concrete coming out in this.
The lack of interest, the reason for the lack of interest, and
I'd say he's Talboyne. Uncounted Liverpool. How do you like that, no?
The lack of interest, the reason for the lack of interest from other clubs is very similar to how it was with Virgil van Dijk and Naby Keita, both amazingly class players. Now, we know there was vague interest from City and Chelsea for sort of VVD. Why would, it's very similar, and I've told you guys in private, I'm about to tell our listeners as well, Klopp and Thiago know exactly what's going on. He's got a gentleman verbals, whatever you want to call it, an agreement in place. Klopp won't let him down. Klopp's told the FSG lot that I want this kid. And that's why there's no need for anyone else. Anyone who's making inquiries to his agent are being told it's near enough going to be agreed with Liverpool. And that's why, can you imagine, look, think about it. Sometimes we've got to think about it very logically and say, Thiago is in the market here. He's openly said he's leaving. Bayern have openly said he's for sale. Yet there's no concrete links apart from Liverpool. Think about that for a second.
Sorry, just going back to a show that we done ages ago, a draft where Lee Cattermole was put into a team. Sad news today that Lee Cattermole was retired from football. According to Stu Mack, Tony Cruz and Bernardo Silva have paid tribute by saying Lee's combative style and Lego munching composure will be greatly missed.
Black armband day, all right.
Couldn't let that go. Shawnee's gone, he is. Combative Lego munching.
The one that got away. God. It's the one that got away.
Oh my God.
It's so much.
Homebook wants to know what the story is with Ronaldo to Southampton rumours.
Link him up with Shane Long.
Flicking on balls.
Do you know what? In the last few months, the pod has gone mad. But if you can, right, go back and check out some drafts. Watch the drafts, because honestly, if you have an hour or two in your day, just watch them, because they'll brighten up any fucking day.
They were so good.
Listen, Grizz had a choice of any striker in the history of the game who's ever won the Champions League, and he went for fucking Goran Pandey.
I tell you, and you know what? Them shows shouldn't have been like that. They should have been ones where you couldn't think and strategize, and it just turned into an absolute farce.
It was strategy.
Taking the Macedonian element out for everyone else.
Oh, stop! Unbelievable!
For fuck's sake!
Gonna knock Macedonia on the head here. That's it. That's them done. Oh my God!
Wonderful stuff. So we all think Thiago is looking more likely as the days go by, and we think it's one that's going to happen. And as Grizz can, the Ayatollah of Inda Noah has confirmed it's only a matter of time. What's this?
James Ward-Prowse off the free kicks.
That's it. Ronaldo will be taking 26 a season, won't score for 3 years.
Oh, stop the lights! Right.
It's the fans make this, isn't it? The chat.
Yeah.
Fans. The chat lads that they keep this thing going. It's great. Wonderful stuff. So I think we'll leave it there, will we, lads? An hour and 35 on a Sunday night.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
Gav, what about the competition? What's the story? You haven't said anything.
Sorry. So
great point, Shawnee.
Great point, Shawnee. Well made.
Solid.
Right, so Predictor Ace, you go onto our YouTube, you look up Predictor Ace, the video on our channel, it's called Predictor Ace, so you can't miss it. Go in there, find the 50 questions, type them out, send them to the email address that's in the description, and you have to have that done before the season starts on the 12th of September. The other competition is for the jersey, 3,000 subs. We've smashed through that. We're approaching Rick Astley performance levels at 4,000, and we're getting there nice and quickly. That's going to close in about 25 minutes. So in 25 minutes time, I will be taking all the entrants from the competition. If you go onto our page again, the title is just called Win, Win, Win. Go in there and type in champions. Simple as that. Subscribe and type in champions, and you're in with a chance. We will close that tonight. We will pick 10 finalists, and then we will make the video we're meant to make, and we will release that. And then when we release it, we'll know who wins.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. If you haven't done it, you still have a chance. Spread the word. Subscribe. Hit the comments. You know what to do. But yeah, that's been brilliant. So we'll leave it there. Seany, thanks very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks very much, Keith, and to the mad fuckers in the chat.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're getting a lot of love for your laugh. Getting a lot of love for your laugh.
Listen, I fucking hate me laugh. So it's the worst thing about being on these shows, because I had to try. You'll just see me shoulders jumping. You know what I mean? I tried to keep my mouth closed. Yeah, but no, thanks very much for having us on, lads. A pleasure as always.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Grizz. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, pal.
No problem, man. No problem. See you Tuesday. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we may have an incoming player.
Ooh, watch this space. Wow.
Oh, wow. Grizz with the carrot.
The Ayatollah of India. No, there's no one better.
Absolute klaxons going off.
Yeah. Gav, thank you very much, pal.
Thank you.
It's been great having you there.
Yeah, it was a great show again. The chat is just off the charts. The amount of subscribers is growing. The amount of people in there chatting is growing. And I always said it, you can't have enough people in that chat, because we just seem to attract people that know football but know how to have a good laugh at the same time. And if you have those two qualities, you're more than welcome here.
Lovely stuff.
Seb is asking Grizz to block him.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's had a good run.
Yeah.
And what better way to end it? Listen, I've been your host, Keith Plunker. We've been the LFC Daytrippers Fat Back Four. Someone was asking what it meant earlier. And we'll bid you all good night. Take care.